Hello, Jake here. Today's topic is squealy front brakes. These are really annoying in city traffic. They make a nasty noise, which is clearly something that many people are experiencing. And I'm attempting a fix. I'm going to be changing the brake pads. So the first brake caliper is off, and I removed the pads. Here are the old pads. Now these are Brembo pads, but as you can see there is no copper paste, no any other paste behind here where the piston touches. And the reason the squealing sound comes from, or where it originates from, is from this brake pad shaking like this, of course much faster than now, against the brake caliper. I mean the piston, sorry, the piston. And the piston is steel, and the pad's backside is steel, and they resonate. And this only happens, as I said, in city traffic, in really at the very end of the braking, when you're not squeezing so hard anymore, that the pad actually has enough playroom to start wiggling. So I'm gonna change to EBC brake sintered pads for a better braking performance, and I'll be putting copper paste behind the new brake pads in order to make them silent. Okay, so I did the left side, and now I'm going for the right side, and I realized that I didn't actually show what I did. So first of all, I removed these caliper bolts from the fork leg, which actually hold the brake caliper. Now I use, because of the brake line here, I don't want to break it, make it leak. I have this rubber banjo here that I'm going to suspend the brake caliper onto. So now if I let go, it's going to be hanging on the brake line, which is not a good idea. So I have this string here that I just suspended on top here, and I'll support the brake caliper when I remove the brake pads. I'll show that in a minute. So this here is the brake caliper pin holding the pads, and this is the spring. Now you remove the pin by pushing the spring so that you relieve the tension from the pin. So one hand holds the spring like this, and then you use another tool to pull the pin out. It comes just out, you don't need to rotate it or anything. And once you have the pin out, you can lift or drop, whichever you prefer, the brake pads out. Now remember, at all times when you're doing this, do not touch the brake lever, because if you push the pistons in here, you're in a world of trouble. Be careful. Okay, both brake pads changed on both sides, and one thing to note when you're tightening these bolts, make sure that you use a moment wrench, a torque wrench, and you only use about 30 Newton meters. That isn't much, because these have to be sort of flexy a bit. If you want them too tight, they might snap under braking, and then you won't have brakes anymore, and that's a really bad thing. So make sure you don't over tighten these. The pins are back, and the springs are holding them in position. Next thing to do, test ride. So after riding about 200 kilometers, I can safely assure that the squeal is gone, and the brake feel and brake power is much improved. So no squeal, better feel, better brakes. Triumph, if you're listening, sintered pads from the factory, please. Thank you. As an extra bonus, I've also heard that a few guys have the same weird squealing from the rear as well. Now this is caused, it's just really small sound. You can only hear it when the engine is not running, when you're sort of pushing your bike back and forward. And it's a rubbery grinding noise, and it's actually the rubber dust seal that sits here. Now you can use just basically virtually any lubricant, just to spray a little bit here where the rubber gasket is. You can see the rubber gasket there, and then just rotate the wheel for a while, and the lubricant spreads and the noise is gone. This is just a dust seal that, well, basically from the factory they should have just put a little bit more of lubrication there, to prevent the sound. So it's nothing to be alarmed of. This is quite normal. So that's about it for now. Safe riding, people. Catch you later.